The Fall Guy is a 2024 American action film where you can see this, and also this, and many more crazy fights and tricks which are mostly done by stunt people, not the actors. How many famous stunt people do you know? Maybe one or two, or perhaps even zero. They are not publicly recognized. There are no awards for their work. They always remain in the shadow. Nevertheless, they are the ones who make impossible possible. They make the audience gasp and gawk and scream in amazement. The Fall Guy brings the stunt world up, showing us its importance and value through an amazing, hilarious, engaging plot, which is a movie within a movie, and of course a love story as well. The dialogues are sharp, witty, the action scenes are top-notch with record-breaking stunts. Soundtracks are wonderful. Emily Blunt is driven, artistic. Ryan Gosling is super charming, and on top of that, he's doing some of the stunts in the film by himself. David Leitch, the director, nabbed just perfect Oscar nominees for the movie and created a wonderful, must-watch testament to those who always stay behind the scenes and remain unknown. The Fall Guy is a lot of fun to watch, but not as much fun to fully understand for an English learner who's watching it in its original language. The actors speak fast. There are numerous expressions, phrases, slang expressions, and even the quotes from other famous movies, which make the film even more hilarious if you know them. So today we're gonna focus on the vocabulary meaning with the examples of how to use them in your speaking. Don't forget to write down the new vocabulary. There is a quiz for your speaking practice in the end of the video. So stay with me until the very end. Let's have fun and watch the movie together.
They're in almost every movie. You just don't know that they're there.
The film begins with a short story told by Colt Seavers, played by Ryan Gosling, about who stunt people are and what they do.
The unknown stunt performer, and they get paid to do the cool stuff. They also get paid to take it on the chin.
If you say that someone took something on the chin, you mean that they accepted an unpleasant or difficult situation bravely and without making a lot of fuss about it, without complaining.
They get paid for doing cool but dangerous stuff and for taking it on the chin, meaning they face difficulties without complaining. They endure some hardship, difficulty, setback, or defeat, especially with stoic courage. For example, if the kid got bullied but stood up for himself, you may say he took bullying on the chin. Another example, the police officer took the situation on the chin and apologized for the inconvenience. Colt is dating Jodie, played by Emily Blunt, who is a camera operator. They both work on the same movie where Colt is a stunt guy of the main actor. Colt is American, Jodie is British.
You know it's so dangerous to swim alone.
I don't know if you have a bathing suit. What do you call that across the pond?
They are flirting with each other over the walkie-talkie. Colt asks, "What do you call a bathing suit across the pond?" The expression across the pond refers mostly to Great Britain, across the Atlantic Ocean. So how is a bathing suit called in British English?
We call it a swimming costume.
Unfortunately, their dreams didn't come true. Colt had an accident, hurt his back, retired from work, and broke up with Jodie.
What's that saying? Pride comes before the fall? Well, it sticks around afterwards too.
Pride goes before a fall, idiom, said to emphasize that if you are too confident about your abilities, something bad will happen that shows that you are not as good as you think.
Colt refers to the idiom "pride comes before a fall" because he was too confident about his abilities. This idiom means the failure or a setback usually breaks those who are overly proud of themselves or believe nothing bad could happen to them.
Someone said you're working at the Captain's Cockatoo? The valet?
It's a family-run place. We pool tips.
Tip pooling means all or some of the tips collected are combined and redistributed fairly among all employees at the end of a shift.
When you start making mistakes like that, it's time to hang up the pads.
Oh, it was an accident, Cole.
I need your help with this expression, guys. Cole says, if you start making mistakes like that, it's time to hang up the pads. There is an expression, hang up the hats, which means to stop or finish working, to cease performing some task or duty that one has done for a long time. Back in the days, men wore hats, and when they were back from work, they put the hats on a hanger. Since then, people have been using this idiom to say, I finished my work. But Cole says, hang up the pads. I've never heard this expression and I couldn't find this interpretation either. Maybe he refers to kicking pads and it's time to stop fighting, or cycling pads and means it's time to stop moving forward and finish what you've been doing. So my question is there an expression, hang up the pads, with the same meaning? Please help us out in the comments and write what you think.
You are getting on a plane for me tomorrow and coming to Sydney.
I'm not getting on a plane, Gail.
So Gail, the producer, needs Cole's help in order to persuade him. She reveals the film's director is his ex, Jodie, knowing he still loves her.
I'm giving her a big break.
Make sure it's an aisle seat.
Big break. A very good opportunity to become more successful or more famous and to improve your career, especially one that happens unexpectedly.
As soon as he heard the director is Jodie, Cole agrees and says, make sure it's an aisle seat. In planes, buses or trains, there are window seats and aisle seats. When you book a flight or buy a ticket, you may be asked which seat you prefer, window or aisle.
Maybe I just spent so much time writing shotgun in someone else's story.
Ride shotgun means to be a passenger in a car next to the driver and help him drive. This phrase comes from the days when people were driving open carriages. One was controlling horses. The other person was holding a gun to protect from potential robbery. So Cole says he's been riding shotgun in someone else's story, meaning he's been helping others without helping himself.
I forgot how to take the wheel on my own. Does that make sense?
Meaning it's time to become a driver by himself and get his life under his control. If you do something bad and you hear your friend says, I'm not riding shotgun, it means he's not gonna help you out. You are on your own in that situation.
Test went well.
Fantastic. Guys, simmer down, eyes on me. Here's what's going to happen.
Simmer down, a phrase to become calm or peaceful.
You're stalling.
Maybe.
You've done this a million times.
And so have you. You know, you just jinxed it.
Get in the car.
Jinx. Bring bad luck to someone or something. Cast an evil spell on something.
All right, guys, stay frosty.
3, 2, 1.
Stay frosty. Originally military slang, as a reference to keeping one's cool, to be alert and ready for action, without letting one's fear or other emotions get in the way.
Here comes the world stunt record of 8.5 car rolls that's been done just in one shot. It deserves a closer look, guys. Ryan's stuntman David Holiday opens up about this amazing scene.
There's something in filmmaking called a oneer, which is basically an uninterrupted shot. There's no edits in the shot. The shot that we're on right now, of all three of us, was a oneer. No edits in that moment, and it was just us talking live.
Knowing you were trying to break the record, so it was like this weird combo of like counting the rolls, wanting those rolls for you, but then also worrying about what every roll was doing to you.
There's a reason why no one's broken this record since the early 2000s. It was freaking hard. It was so technical. You had to have the perfect amount of pressure in the cannon, the right amount of pressure in the tires, the exact speed, you know, the entry.
The sand density.
The sand density.
Which worked its way into the movie. Look, I don't want to be that guy, but the sand's a little loose.
So good.
Oh, good.
Anyone but him. I didn't approve him, you know that.
Turns out, Jodie didn't know anything about Cole's arrival, which means Gail, the producer, lied.
Do you feel a bit flung into the deep end? Do you haven't read the script? You'd like some backstory, some context?
Jodie is still angry with Cole, making him do the burning scene over and over again. She uses the idiom throw, jump, fling into the deep end, which means to begin doing something very complex or unfamiliar without guidance, assistance, or preparation. For example, if you've been given a totally new project to do, you can say, I've been thrown into the deep end. By the way, the verb fling is irregular. Fling is its past form. That means to throw something with a lot of force. But as a noun, it has a totally different meaning, which is a short period of enjoyment. For example, let's go to the beach for one last fling before the end of summer. Jodie uses it in the film as well, explaining Colt the plot of the film.
Was it just a fling? Did she let her imagination run wild again?
I'd love another chance.
Colt goes to see Gail and find out the real reason she asked him to fly to Sydney.
The star of the movie is missing.
Call the cops.
The studio will pull the plug on this.
Pull the plug on something, idiom, to do something that prevents an activity from continuing, especially by no longer giving money to support it.
You find Ryder, save Jodie's film. You get the love of your life back.
Oh, so dangerous. I'm very sorry. Lighting you up like that.
Jodie is apologizing for punishing Colt in a burning scene and talking about their relationship in public.
It was very cathartic. I feel better.
I deserved it.
It was very cathartic. It's an adjective that describes releasing the feelings through some activity. The process itself is called catharsis. For example, you had a very stressful day and after you're going to a party for relief. If it really helps, you can say the party was cathartic, or it was cathartic experience, or I find it very cathartic to dance, which means all your strong emotions like worries or stress go away because you are doing something you enjoy.
If you're gonna stay here, we need to keep it like super profesh. Promise me you're not gonna derail this, okay?
Promise.
Derail, to prevent a plan or process from succeeding.
Colt arrives at Tom Ryder's apartment to find out what happened to him.
Tom, long time no see. Gail asked me to check and make sure you're okay.
Long time no see, idiom, said when you meet someone who you haven't seen for a long period of time.
Tom is not there, but his girlfriend is. After quite a peaceful acquaintance, she tells him where Tom might be, in a club.
It's neon night at the club, so just act like Tom.
Yeah, just act like I own everything and everyone, and there's no repercussions for my actions.
Repercussion, the effect that an action, event, or decision has on something, especially a bad effect, synonym for consequences.
They give Oscars for that. For stunts? No.
Colt got drugged, but managed to get the information from a drug dealer about the hotel Tom might be. As soon as he arrives, he meets Jodie there.
God, you look terrible.
You look amazing.
You seem kind of tweaky.
I'm a little spotty.
You seem tweaky, Jodie says. Tweak means to make slight changes in something in order to make it better. For example, you have to tweak the last paragraph in your essay and it's good to go. By saying tweaky, she means his behavior has changed a bit. He was sad earlier when they met and now he's happy and cheerful.
Can you go and grab your things? We have ready.
Okay.
Got a zip.
Yep.
Seems like Gail doesn't doesn't want Jodie and Colt to get closer. She takes her away by saying, "We have to go to Zip." Zip has two meanings. The first one is used in the film and means to go quickly. Basically, she says we are in a hurry, we have to move. Another meaning is to stop talking. If you hear just zip it, it's a rude way to ask someone to shut up.
The studio are wanting me to contort the love story.
We should keep chopping it up.
Yeah?
Chop it up is a slang phrase that means you want to catch up with someone you haven't seen in a while to hear about what's going on in their life. It's also another way to say you want to talk, chat, or have a conversation.
Is this okay? I'm calling you, said to call and...
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah?
Let's chop it up. It's a good time, not doing anything.
Okay.
Colt gets in a hotel room but receives a call from Jodie to chop it up, to discuss a movie love story, projecting it onto their love story. They discuss a split screen effect. As it's a movie within a movie, we, the audience, can visually see what kind of effect Jodie wants to achieve by a split screen. It shows how similar or opposite the main actors can be.
All we know is that the cowboy likes the alien. Does the alien like the cowboy?
She's on the fence.
Being on the fence means you really just can't decide. It's as if you are sitting on the fence because you can't decide which yard to play in. If you can't decide whether to take a job or not, you are on the fence. If you don't know which basketball team to root for, you are on the fence. Colt finds a dead body in a hotel room and freaks out. He calls Gail and says he will go to the police, and now Gail freaks out.
But we're all tangled up. I just want to get you out of here before it escalates.
If you are tangled up, you're involved in a complicated or unpleasant situation and cannot get free of it.
Colt decides to stay and not to go to the airport and finally find the missing actor. Colt goes to Tom's assistant to find out some more information. She asks for a career promotion in exchange for his phone that can help Colt find him.
You're a stunt guy who seems to be getting close to rekindling some sort of torrid love affair.
Colt can help to get her a promotion because he's close to Jodie. He's rekindling their torrid love affair, as she says.
Do you think we're close to rekindling? I mean, it feels like it to me.
Is it a deal or not?
Kindle means to start a fire, to start burning something. It can be used metaphorically when talking about people's emotions. Prefix re means again. So rekindling means to start strong feelings again. She calls their love affair torrid, which means hot, the one that has sexual tension. The moment she hands Colt the phone, she's got kidnapped. So Colt goes after them to help her.
Ryder's phone. Where is it? Engage your core.
When you engage your core, you contract the muscles in your midsection to strengthen and stabilize your body and support your spine. The phrase is used in a workout.
This stuntman's crazy.
There is a video on the phone where Tom kills his stunt guy, whose dead body Colt saw in the hotel. Same time they see the news where the main suspect of the murder is Colt. But the phone gets destroyed and Colt gets captured.
What do you say about my accident?
Well, you know, you pushed me over the edge.
Push someone over the edge, idiom, to cause someone to commit to doing something they had been considering or close to doing for a long time. To go beyond limit, to go crazy.
Had to crank it up a notch. Had to teach you a little lesson, didn't I?
I had to crank it up a notch. Tom reveals it was him who caused the fall. By this phrase, he says, I had to bring it to another level. I had to put more effort to getting rid of you. Crank up means to increase, like crank the volume up. Notch means level. If you hear someone says a top notch, that means the highest level, the best of something.
Got a little too big for your boots, don't you? Henry's no different.
You do your own stunts?
Tom can't stand someone being better than him. He says, "You have got a little too big for your boots." This idiom means to behave as if you are more important than you really are, showing arrogance and conceit. For example, he's been getting a bit too big for his boots since he got that promotion.
Don't worry about it. You lay low, and I will handle everything.
How will Colt get his good name back and win back Jodie? If you haven't seen the movie yet, you won't be disappointed. Don't miss the credits in the end. There is more to the story in there. And don't miss the movie review for your listening and reading English practice. We've learned amazing idioms today, so let's use them to rephrase simple sentences and sound like an advanced English speaker. They are: pull the plug on something, take it on the chin, throw into the deep end, pride comes before the fall, hang up the hats, to be too big for your boots, be on the fence. Choose the correct idiom and rephrase the sentence. If you need more time, just pause the video.
The company canceled the deal because it wasn't happy with the terms.
The company pulled the plug on the deal because it wasn't happy with the terms.
There's no way they'd fire me. I'm way too important to the company. Just be careful. Being too confident can lead to trouble.
Just be careful. Pride comes before the fall, after all.
You can't keep avoiding a decision. You need to choose which of the two candidates we should hire.
You can't stay on the fence any longer. You need to choose which of the two candidates we should hire.
After graduating, he wasn't afraid to dive right into a new field and start his business on his own.
After graduating, he was not afraid to jump in at the deep end and start his new business alone.
Kids these days are getting too full of themselves. They think everything should be all about them.
Kids these days are getting too big for their boots. They think the whole world should revolve around them.
He just accepted the criticism without complaint and kept working on his art.
He just took the criticism on the chin and kept working on his art.
You're getting too old for this job. I think it's time to retire.
You're getting too old for this job. I think it's time to hang up your hat.
I believe you've done a great job and gonna use the expressions in your everyday English practice. Thank you for being with me until the very end.